Welcome to our podcast, Inspiring Living, with me, Mark Candelaria. I am an architect, blogger, traveler, chef, father, and husband. I'm the founder and now a partner of a fabulous 25-person architecture firm specializing in high-end residential architecture, designing amazing homes across the country. We have hosted tours to Italy, Spain, and now Napa over the last 20 years, and in the course of all this, I have met a lot of interesting people who truly inspire me. Our podcast is about all the opportunities that are right there in front of us to inspiring living. Yes, we will talk about architecture and design, but every week we will venture into all sorts of topics that will inspire you, teach you, and motivate you to inspire living every day. My guests will include a wide gamut of amazing people, from those in the design industry to clients to real estate professionals, chefs, artists, sports figures, and philanthropists, and people who just flat out get it. Sit back and enjoy, and let's have some fun exploring all the opportunities that are there just waiting for us. Please subscribe and get ready to be inspired every week. Okay, as my dad says, here we go. Because inspiring living is all about the people and the organizations that inspire us, we are excited to have Monogram Appliances as one of our sponsors. Anytime we do a new kitchen or a kitchen remodel, Monogram Appliances are what we recommend to our client. Their appliances are the definition of luxury, meticulously detailed using the finest materials and an ownership experience that is second to none. Well, our Candelaria design kitchen is almost finished. I was by there yesterday, and it looks absolutely amazing. And I cannot wait to try my Monogram appliances. Got this beautiful induction stove, speed oven. I tell you what, we're going to do some major cooking in there. And stay tuned, we might be doing something here shortly. This is how Monogram is always thinking ahead and inspiring and elevating the kitchen experience. Because at Monogram, they don't just elevate one thing, they elevate everything. Welcome, everybody. I hope everybody is staying safe and staying home. I'm doing my best to stay home. It's a little difficult. I'm in one of those essential businesses. And so, I've been going to a couple job sites, but I'll tell you, I got the ski goggles on. I got a bandana on. I can't get a hold of any masks, but if anyone has one, send one my way. But I button up pretty good. So, but I've got a great podcast today. I've got a wonderful person who's definitely a leader in our community, Mr. Jimmy Walker, famed by Fight Night, of course. And so we'll get to that here in just a second. Just wanted to say a few more words. I know we're all going through some tough times here. And like I said, we'll get through this. We always do. And I think people just got to stay positive, try to help others, try not to focus in on what your predicament is and what your problems are, but try to spin it around and really try to help others. I think if you do that, not only does the time go by fast, but your heart's going to feel wonderful, and it'll put a whole different perspective on this whole situation. So I really encourage you to try to do that, even in small ways. It doesn't have to be any monumental task or gesture. Just take your time to do little things. Fix dinner for somebody, take it over to their house, leave it at the front door, of course. I mean, there's little things that you can do that, make a big difference. So hang in there. I appreciate all the direct messages, all the great stuff that you guys have been sending my way. The following on our podcasts have been great. I see that now we're actually being covered in or listened to in several countries around the world. So that's kind of encouraging and obviously a lot of fun. So we recorded this podcast with Jimmy Walker on March 12th, and our office went into work from home mode the very next day. And, when I look back now, I still don't think we had an idea of what was headed our way with this whole coronavirus situation. And so it's kind of interesting to listen to this podcast now from that perspective of a month ago and to see where we are now. I really do think a lot of things will change, hopefully for the better in terms of cleanliness and everyone's safety. So give it a listen. It's a great podcast. Jimmy Walker, you're a great guy. I love you, my friend. Today I have the sincere pleasure of introducing one of the most giving and enterprising persons I have ever known, and have been blessed to be engaged in several of his charities and foundations. He has received numerous awards, including the Phoenix Business Journal Top 100 Community Leaders for Significant Contribution in Phoenix over the past 25 years, the 2000 Crisis Nurseries Honorary Chairman, and the 1995 Man of the Year by Muscular Dystrophy Association, amongst many other awards. I saw that list of awards, and it took a couple pages, so I kind of shortened it down here. But today we are here on location in Mr. Jimmy Walker's office, which is spectacular. I love all the beautiful pictures, and you're just amazing. And we are going to talk about everything you've done in your life in an hour.
Okay.
But welcome.
Welcome. Good to have you here,
Yeah,
Mark.
it was kind of a nice rainstorm. Almost got soaked by the time I got in here, but it seems like we're all running and everything's up and moving here. So here we go. You ready?
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, this is great. So, first of all, thanks again for taking the time to do this. And let's talk really quick about your iconic event, Charity Fight Night, which this is, how many years have you been doing this?
Well, it started 1994.
1994.
And I called Charles Barkley.
Yep.
And I said, Charles, let's do something in the community. Let's do something where we can really give back. And Charles was all ears. And I said, what if we did this? Why don't we put large, oversized boxing gloves on, and you'll box other celebrities? And we could build a boxing ring in the ballroom at the Ritz-Carlton, and we would do this for charity. And so in 1994, quite a few years ago, Charles was in the ring at the Ritz-Carlton boxing people like Phil Mickelson, Evander Holyfield, Joe Montana, Mini-Me, Don Knotts, Jason Kidd. And so we did that for about 3-4 years, and it was really it was very cool. It kind of got old after a while, but with Charles,
You're not anything can happen with Charles.
Absolutely,
right?
And you knew it would be successful because Charles at that time he owned Phoenix.
Yeah. I remember those years. What fun years those were. So, but he's not a boxer. He's a basketball player.
Yeah, but he became a boxer. I developed him. I was like, a boxing promoter, but all in comedy. And Barkley, he walks in a room and it's comedy just all by itself.
Exactly.
But it worked really well, and we would sell out the Ritz-Carlton because of Charles. Just having Charles in the room was great. So that's how Celebrity Fight Night got started.
So that's how it got started. But eventually, you did get a boxer involved.
Well, yeah, we did. In fact, we gave proceeds in the early stage to Michael Carbajal. We helped him with his 9th Street gym.
Yep.
And then we went from boxing to entertainment. And throughout the years, we've had some pretty fabulous entertainers. And one of the people very responsible for the success of our entertainment was David Foster. I'd met him at a Grammys event, and I was introduced to him. In fact, he still holds it against to me, Mark, because I was dead center at the Grammys in the 4th row, and he was in the 5th row behind me.
Wow.
And I noticed him, and to this day, he holds it against me. He says, how come a 16-time Grammy winner has to sit behind you, an insurance agent? I said, David, you got to deal with it.
It's all who you know.
But he's done our event 20 years in a row, and I love David.
Yeah, no, they do a great job. That event is absolutely amazing. And today's been quite the day, hasn't it? We're here. It's March 12th today, and this will come out in a couple weeks. But what a day in the world, isn't it?
Well, it is, with the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And we actually, as of now, following the pattern of so many charities and the NBA and Final Four, where we're postponing our April 4th date to October 3rd. And so we're looking forward to it. I mean, we just want to make the best of it, and it's just a situation. It's a circumstance you just got to deal with.
Yeah, and that's what you and I were talking about. I mean, I think it's one thing when you do, evaluate what you're going to do personally, but when it involves a whole bunch of people, you got to look at it from a totally different perspective.
Well, you have to put their health, their interest, and none of us really completely understand it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But let's hope that some brilliant scientist, physician, or someone can find a cure, or vaccination, so we can get on to normality again.
Well, I think we'll get there. I think there's some amazing, bright people out there that'll solve this thing, and I think hopefully our country will let them do their thing and not make it so bureaucratic that it can't get done. So
keep the political part out of it, right?
Yeah, let's just work together as Americans, right?
You got it.
Yep. So in addition to Fight Night, I know you do a ton for St. Vincent DePaul, and I have had the honor of speaking there a couple times at your request, and that is always a very moving experience. Tell us about your involvement there.
What actually started, my daughter Jennifer, she was working at St. Vincent de Paul full-time, and she said, hey, Dad, why don't you come down here and do some volunteer work? So I said, fine. And the volunteer work was actually passing out clothes and kind of meeting the homeless. And I did that for several months, and then I decided what I really wanted to do was to meet the people. I wanted to meet the homeless. I wanted to
Right.
go one-on-one with them, to encourage them, to provide any help I could. And so I spoke to the executive director, Steve Zabelski. I said, Steve, what if we did the following? We had a program that, well, actually, first of all, started out as a Bible study.
Hmm.
And there were about 5, 6, 7 of them coming. And we did that for 2 or 3 months. And then I mentioned to Steve, the executive director, why don't we take the word Bible study off? Let's call it Never Give Up. And
Yep.
what I'd like to do is to invite different community leaders, some of them athletes, some women,
Some
different
architects.
types, like Mark Candelaria,
Yeah.
prominent people to come down and just share a story to encourage the homeless, the men and women, to never give up. And so we've done this. I've actually had the pleasure of doing it 13 years in a row
Wow.
on Mondays when I'm not traveling, and it's been a blessing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, you know, they say to much is given, much is expected, and there's a lot of people who do a lot more than I do, but it's really come back. I've really enjoyed the opportunity of doing this.
Yeah. And then the 2 times that I've done it, especially the second time, uh, it was just very moving. I mean, there was people came up and were hugging me, and I'm I'm okay. I'm not a great speaker, but it was just it was an equally moving experience for me as it was hopefully for some of the people that were there that day.
Sorry, I have to correct you. You are a great speaker.
Well,
I
thank
mean,
you.
really, you have the gift of, first of all, sincerity and charisma and enthusiasm, and they really enjoyed your message.
Well,
It was
thanks,
very
Jimmy.
encouraging to them.
Yeah, and I'm happy to do it anytime you need that. And then I did the national anthem for you last year at Fight Night. You needed someone to come in and step in at the last second.
We needed a heavyweight, so
Oh,
we called
yeah.
on this kid from Italy that is making all these beautiful homes in Arcadia
Oh, my
look
gosh.
better, and so
I'll tell you that was an experience. I get out there, and sitting there right in front of me is Quincy Jones and Buzz Aldrin. I remember watching Buzz Aldrin and the crew land on the moon when I was 9 years old, and here he is. I'm singing the national anthem to him. Talk about a surreal experience.
and Quincy was thinking about you maybe cutting a record. You
Yeah,
could
right,
produce it or
right.
something.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear from Quincy the next
And
day.
you said Rita Wilson.
Rita Wilson
Tom,
was in the back
Tom's wife was
green
right
room
next
with
to you.
us with
Yep.
Mrs. Ali.
Yeah.
And I mean, what an experience that was.
Yeah.
And then I just heard that they were diagnosed with the coronavirus.
I just sent him an email just wishing him well, praying for him, and let's
Yeah.
hope they get through their quarantine quickly and come home.
Awesome. I mean, it's just amazing what's going on out there. But another charity I know you are passionate about is this Bicycles for Kids. Tell us about that one.
That is my favorite party of the year. It actually started in 1984, and I had mentioned to Nancy and our kids, I said, we are so blessed. We have so much. Let's do something for the kids that don't get bicycles at Christmas. I mean, you don't even think about that. And there's so many of them. So we decided what we would do is reach out to the boys clubs in the different inner city programs and invite them to our house for a party. But we did not tell the kids it was a bicycle party because it was a complete surprise. We
Right.
had the bicycles in the garage. So the first year we gave away like 50 bicycles. And we had, I'll never forget it because it seemed like, and they were in our backyard, and it seemed like, Mark, they all had to go to the bathroom at the same time. So I said, oh, there it is. It's through the kitchen off to the right. And they went into the bathroom, and the toilets overflowed.
Oh, my gosh.
And my wife looked at me. She says, what are we doing? And I said, I have an answer. Next year we'll get a porta-john.
There you go.
Well, anyway, we've done this event for 35 years, but credit our friends. It's just not us. We organize it, and our friends that want to sponsor a bicycle, many of them just continue to do it every year. And
Yeah.
we've given away about 9,000 bicycles
That's
over
amazing.
the years. So
That's so cool.
It's been a great party.
That's so cool. I'd like to check that one out sometime. That sounds like a lot of fun.
By the way, I have to tell you this, just last party, one of the ladies came up, and she had her daughter with her.
Mhm.
And she was teary-eyed and everything, and she says, well, years ago, I got a bicycle party at your party when I was a little girl. Now she's bringing her
Oh,
little
that's so
girl,
cool.
and she got a bicycle.
Isn't
So
that neat?
that's kind of emotional.
Yeah. No, that's the legacy you're creating, my friend. I mean, the things that you've done for so many people truly inspires me, and that's really the topic of our show is inspiring living, and you are the epitome of that in my book.
Well, thank you for your encouraging words, even though you're overestimating me. There's a lot of people do a whole lot more than I do.
Yeah, we all know it takes a lot of people, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not just us. I mean, we always, we're kind of the ones that get the notoriety, I guess, for a lot of it. We all realize how many people are behind the scenes that are doing a lot of great things to make all of us look good.
And they're the ones that really should deserve and receive the credit.
Yeah. So tell us about Jimmy. Where are you born, and how did you end up in Arizona?
I was born in Waterloo, Iowa. I had no choice. Had to come to Arizona because my dad said, when I was 10 years old, we're headed west. So, my two brothers and I, my sister, we moved to Phoenix, 1955. And I remember in 7th grade, went to Madison number 1, 8th grade, Rose Lane.
Wow.
Went to high school at Central High before they had barbed wire and metal detectors and cameras.
Yeah.
In the good old days.
Yeah. I bet you Central Avenue was quite a different experience back then.
People used to cruise Central.
Yeah, I remember when I first moved here, even in '79, they were still cruising Central.
And the big thing on the cruise was go to Bob's Big Boy and get a Big Boy hamburger for 50 cents. And that was a lot of money, and it was a big hamburger.
Yeah.
And if you couldn't get in Bob's, it was a drive-in. You go to Carnation.
Yeah, Carnation.
So, or Mary Coyle ice cream. I mean,
crazy.
Those were the days.
Now, is Mary Coyle still there? I think they moved, didn't they?
I think they have another Mary Coyle somewhere.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I love all those memories. So where did your interest in business come from?
Well, my father, we would sit down at dinner, and Dad always talked business. My brothers talked business. And I actually, in high school, I sold my first life insurance policy.
Wow.
And then in college, half the guys, I played basketball at Arizona State.
Yeah, so from Central High, you went to ASU.
Yeah, I had a basketball scholarship there. I played there, and about half the guys on the team had policies with me. And so I've just been in it for many years.
Yeah, so you weren't a power forward or a center. You were most likely a point guard, I'm guessing.
I am of the age where they didn't even have point guards. It was called short guards.
Short guard.
I was a short guard. And it wasn't my ability as much as my hustle. I hustled. Yeah. I'd dive for balls, but... in
You're
fact,
still hustling.
Well, don't Google my basketball success. As a friend, I mean, but I was on scholarship and played. And
That's
it was
so
good
cool.
Experience.
When I read that, I'm like, that is so neat. So you played basketball. Did you play all 4 years?
Nope, didn't play all 4. I
Okay.
didn't play the whole time.
Yeah.
2 years.
So you graduated ASU?
No, I still got about 30 hours.
Oh, you're just
and
like
at
me.
age 75, I better get my degree from my business.
Well, maybe you and I go back together.
Let's do it.
Because I have about 15 hours
Well,
I
we
need to
got-
get a finance degree. Ironically.
Right.
Seriously, I'm 15 hours short of a finance degree. So
Well, we had to be like Larry Fitzgerald and maybe do it University of Phoenix.
that would be a good ad,
and then
right?
maybe they'll come to us and they'll want an advertisement from us.
See, I like the way you think. That's what I always like about you. You're so enterprising. So from ASU, then how did you get your career started?
Well, I actually credit Reggie Jackson. He was my first big policy.
Huh. And he went to ASU.
He went to ASU.
Was that your connection?
Yeah, he was playing baseball. I was playing basketball.
Okay.
And so I remember I met with Reggie, and I said to Reggie, I showed him $1 million of life insurance. And he said, why do I need $1 million policy? And I said, well, you're young. The premiums are great. It's a forced savings. And he said, but I'm not married. Why do I need it? And I remember what I did, Mark. I gave him a legal pad, and I said, Reggie, who do you love? Who do you really care about? And he said, what do you mean? I said, he may have thought of his girlfriends or something.
Right.
But I said, no, I mean, really, who do you care about? So he wrote down 16 names, his mom, his dad, his brothers and sisters, and he put my 3 kids down, and they were 16 beneficiaries on $1 million policy. And that's what motivated him, that if something ever happened to him, he wanted these 16 people to be beneficiaries.
Interesting.
And it taught me a lot. And and Reggie's still a great friend.
That's so cool. I mean, he's one of my favorite all-time baseball players. I mean, I knew when I was a kid he went to ASU, and I loved ASU, but I just loved Reggie Jackson. I mean, I was in college in 77, 78, and that was kind of in his prime years.
Right.
When he was hitting all those home runs for the Yankees.
Right.
So then I remember he was with the A's for a while too, right?
Yep. He finished his career with the Angels.
Yeah. But he was with the A's younger and then the Yankees later, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, my favorite Reggie Jackson story was we were watching the Yankees play the Angels, and we're in Anaheim, and we're in the Disneyland Hotel. And, Mark, I noticed Joe DiMaggio, and I said to myself, I got to meet Joe DiMaggio. So I went up and I introduced myself. And then I noticed that Nancy and my daughter Jennifer was 7 years old at the time, they're walking up. So I introduced Nancy, my wife, and my daughter Jennifer to Joe DiMaggio. And I said to Jennifer, Jennifer, this is the greatest baseball player that ever lived, Joe DiMaggio. And Jennifer, age 7, with pigtails and dimples, she looked up at him. She says, "No, he isn't, Daddy. You told me Reggie Jackson was."
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
You should have seen Joe. He was silent.
Oh, that's funny.
And I wanted to hide.
Oh, that's so
but
funny.
That's
kids, right?
Yeah, that was kids. And
Yep.
that's a true story.
That's great. So then in 74, you and a couple investors, including Reggie Jackson, purchased the World Tennis Organization Denver Rackets, and you moved the team to Phoenix, right?
Correct.
Yep. So at that point, you already had been developing your business, your Jimmy Walker Limited, right?
True.
And so you did it without a degree and just by your contacts and working and your hustle as a point guard or a short guard.
Short guard.
You got out there and just got the job done, right?
Well, yeah, we did this, and I remember Reggie wasn't that all excited about it, and he got out after about 6 months, and I took it over as a general partner. And in that league of World Team Tennis was Jerry Buss, who owned the Los Angeles Strings tennis team, later bought the Lakers.
Yep.
In that league in World Team Tennis was Bob Kraft, who was a partner of mine, and later the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
And it was pretty amazing. And then what I did, the number 1 tennis player in the world among the women was Chrissy Evert. And so I went out and signed Chrissy, and so she, and then after a couple of years, she wanted to play in L.A. because of Jimmy Connors, and that's when Jerry Buss and I started doing insurance together. And
Interesting.
I wrote the Laker players, Key Man Insurance, including Magic and and Kareem, and actually through Jerry Buss at a Laker game, that's when I met Muhammad Ali.
Huh.
He introduced me to Muhammad. Jerry was having dinner with Sammy Davis and Muhammad Ali.
Wow.
And I remember when I went up to Muhammad, I said, Muhammad, you and I have a mutual friend, and Ernie Shavers. And he didn't say much. And I said, Ernie really loved you a lot. And he didn't say much. And then he finally said, if Ernie loved me so much, why'd he hit me so hard? That's how we first got acquainted.
That's interesting. And so through that acquaintance, you really kind of just kept developing your connections and eventually did get Muhammad Ali involved in the whole fight night thing, right?
Yeah, it was a natural. I've been on the board at the Barrow Neurological Institute, and Muhammad and his wife Lonnie came. He was getting treatment for his Parkinson's disease, and so I just reconnected, and I explained what we were doing with a fight night event, and I said we could really do this together, and we could develop the Muhammad Ali Parkinson Center. And so for 20 years we did this, and it was several years ago he passed, and he's greatly missed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he did a lot for the community here in Arizona, which I think a lot of people don't know or didn't know, but he loved Arizona, didn't he?
Loved it. But he loves people. And one of the quotes he said so many things, but he said the greatest religion in the world is a religion of love.
Yeah.
And he loved it. And he said, I don't want to kill those Viet Cong. I'm not going over there. And he gave up the 4 best years of his boxing career for his cause.
Yep, I remember that.
Because he didn't want to hurt anybody.
Yep. No, he was an amazing guy. Now, I was fortunate to be, in my teen years when Muhammad Ali was in his prime. I mean, I personally think I lived in one of the greatest moments of time in terms of people like Reggie Jackson, Muhammad Ali, and I just loved, and then in music, which I know you've got great connections there. I still think some of the music in the late 70s was some of the best music that there ever was, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We had the Eagles, and so all this stuff kind of just kept growing and growing with Fight Night, right? And your connections and selling insurance, and you just kept kind of incorporating it into this and the cause of Parkinson's and giving back.
When I think of the Eagles, we had Glenn Fry, who performed at our event with Eagles, and then we had an event in Italy, as we've done an event every September with Andrea Bocelli, and Joe Walsh from the Eagles, he joined us.
Right. And tell us about the Italy connection, because you and I have that strong affinity for Italy.
We love it. Yeah.
And I have my little tour that we're actually on our 20th year of doing the tour.
And it is big time special. The
well,
people I've talked
yours
to,
is big time special.
No. I'm telling you, the people that go on your tour, it's a bucket list.
Yeah,
they love it. You
fun.
do such a good job, you and Isabel.
Yeah, it's a real passionate thing, and I know yours is too. And so tell me a little bit more about your Italy tour.
Well, it started, it was probably about 8 years ago that Andrea Bocelli and Jennifer Lopez performed at our event. at Celebrity Fight Night
Here in Phoenix.
in Phoenix. And then I received an email from Andrea. He's in Forte de Marmi where he lives. And he says, hey, Jimmy, he says, we got nothing like Celebrity Fight Night in Italy. Would you bring it to Italy? So I thought that was a pretty neat idea, and I spoke to the board, and they all went along with it. The first call I made, really, after the board, I called Mark Cuban. Mark's been a longtime friend, and I knew he had the big plane, the Maverick plane, so we've chartered the plane. And but we've done 5 events in September in Italy, and probably if I could single out one of the 5 that was really special, we were in the Coliseum in Rome, and Andrea sang, Elton John, and Steven Tyler.
Wow.
And we honored Sophia Loren that night. She lives in Rome.
Can't get much better combo than that.
The only problem with that was everything's downhill entertainment after that night.
Yeah, that is tough. That's a tough act to follow.
And the year before, we were at the Palazzo Vecchio in Florence, and we honored George Clooney in a mall.
Wow.
And that was fun. So, but I mean, Andrea, he's just amazing. He's and as great a singer as he is, when you think about it, he's got 5 schools in Haiti, and because of him, he contributes his time and money. 2,500 children are getting an education in that poverty-stricken
I didn't know
country.
about that. That's amazing. And then I think the last time he was here in Phoenix last December, his son performed with him. Is that correct?
Yeah, Mateo.
Mateo.
Yeah, he's terrific.
He's very good. So that was interesting. And then he had a young lady that was performing that same night. I can't remember her name, but boy, she was like Celine Dion on steroids.
Yeah, she. When we had Celine at our event, thanks to David Foster, but that was Pia Toscano.
Okay, that's the name.
And she travels with him on tour.
She is amazing.
Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah. So, are you going to be doing your Italy tour this year?
We actually are doing Italy in August 20th to the 26th, 2021.
Okay.
We have leased the Ritz-Carlton yacht.
Wow.
And so the people, we've already sold out the charter from JFK to Rome, but the additional people, the Ritz-Carlton yacht has 149 suites with private terrace, and we'll meet everyone in Rome, and then we'll get on the yacht, and then we'll go to the Amalfi Coast.
Okay,
and
then head south.
Yeah, and Andrea Bocelli one evening will entertain, then we'll have a country evening with Reba McEntire, Brooks and Dunn, and then the next night David Foster and Smokey Robinson's on that, and so we just.
So how many people do you take on your Italy tour?
Well, normally it's about 200.
200.
Right.
Right. Wow.
Right.
That's pretty good. And then can I ask how much that trip runs?
It's an investment.
It's an investment.
Great charity investment. The one that we're doing on the tour with the Ritz-Carlton yacht is $75,000 a person.
Wow.
$150,000 a couple.
And then that money all goes to the different charities that you're involved in?
Primarily, yeah. The bulk of it is with the Andrea Bocelli Foundation.
Okay. For the Italy tours, it goes
correct,
mostly with them.
And most of it is directed toward the 5 schools he has in Haiti.
Interesting.
And because of the hurricanes, sometimes these schools get really demolished.
Right.
And then he has to put money. We put money in, and we build them back up again.
Interesting. So all of these amazing things that you've done, all the awards that I mentioned, and again, we'll put the whole list on the storyboard. But I think probably your proudest achievement, from what I know about you, is your family. Is that correct?
True.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you trade all of that other stuff.
Right. But most people would, wouldn't they? I mean,
I think
there's nothing more important than family.
Right. And I think one of the key people in that whole group is your lovely wife, Nancy.
52 years.
52 years.
Yep.
That is so awesome. And we had you and Nancy and Joan and Jerry Colangelo over for dinner about a year or so ago. And my wife, Isabel, was still kind of coming out of her whole cancer fight. And that was such a fun evening with the 4 of you over at our house. It was pretty laid back. I made ossobuco that night.
Yeah, I was going to say the best part was the food. But being with you and Isabel was the best part.
That was a lot of fun.
You're a great chef. And just anytime I'm with you, Mark, it's a good time.
Yeah. And then I was fortunate enough to design your daughter's house. Lori and John.
Yeah.
And that was such fun working with her. I mean, I know where she gets her energy. And she's got a lot of energy.
Yeah, she's wired pretty much with energy. But
I
you
love
did a
working
great
with it.
job. It's a beautiful home that you
It's
really
been
helped
in
them with.
fact it won a Lux Magazine Red Award about 2 years ago for best classical home in the southwest region of the United States.
See, I would like to interview you in all your awards.
Yeah.
I mean, mine are thin next to what you've
No, come on,
accomplished.
stop that. So I hear you're working on a book. Tell me about that.
Well, I decided I'd write a book on relationships, and it's a matter of what get published. I guess it's 90% completed, but I'm kind of in slow motion on it right now. And one of the things I've enjoyed the most about it is just reminding myself of some great memory stories. But I think the purpose behind it is it's not to exalt me. In fact, I've got some people who've made some really very nice quotes that again they've overestimated me, but I like to share in it where it might help other people because we've all made mistakes. We've
Mm-hmm.
all failed in different areas. We've all struggled. We have highs and lows. It's
Yep.
just part of life.
Yep.
And through that, some of maybe setbacks I've had or something like that, it could be encouraging to other people because back to the program at St. Vincent de Paul, never give up.
Yep.
In fact, the wisest man who ever lived was Solomon, and he said the fact is that we fall, but we're to get up. You know,
Right.
he says the righteous man falls 7 times but gets up again.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah.
what I've learned too. It's like, and I think the more times that you fall in life, at least from my experience, is that energy kicks in. It's like, okay, here I am again. And today's a good example of that I'm sure for a lot of people, today was a tough day for some people with what's going on.
Stock market included.
It's crazy.
Dropping again.
Yeah. So, as a country, we are going to be going through some tough times again.
Mhm.
No one knows how long this is going to last and how it's going to shake out. But as I've gone through, these things in life, I have that little voice now that says, okay, here we go. Here it is again. Kick in. You gotta get back up. You gotta
Right.
fight through it.
Right.
And put your energy into that versus, oh, poor me, and look what happened to me. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that mode of thinking, and I think it's the leaders in the world that inspire people to, like Muhammad Ali, get up
Right.
off the mat and
Right.
get at it again. You got to do it.
Absolutely. Right. Right.
And people look at our lives, and you're extremely successful, and I've been fortunate to work with so many super successful people, and when I talk to them and get into their life a little bit, they've all been knocked on the mat.
Mhm.
I mean, at times, and I think people don't realize what it takes to get back up sometimes, and the things that we have to do, and you know, I just feel like people look at our lives and they think our lives are picture perfect, and our lives are not picture perfect, are they?
Right. Well, Michael Jordan said he missed hundreds of game-winning shots, and here's a guy that got cut on the high school basketball team.
Yeah.
But one of my Jewish friends always said repeatedly, during adversity, the weak get weaker and the strong get stronger.
Yeah, it's
So
totally it.
let's hope our country can pull together and get stronger and really want to work together.
Yeah, we just all have to start working together a little bit better. This whole, I'm not going to get political because I know that's not the purpose of my show, but the purpose of my show is just to show people that, when these times like this that are coming happen, we have to pull together and put the stuff aside. Let's just
Exactly.
let's work on what's going to be best for all of us. And there's a win there, collective win versus I win, you lose. I think people just have to start looking at how do we win? How do we get through this together?
Absolutely.
Right? So what do you do to stay positive and get through life's challenges?
Well, it's pretty simple. I get more victory in staying positive in the Bible.
Yeah.
And
And you have your Bible study, every Tuesday morning.
yeah, the Bible study, and I'm not even sure I'm qualified to lead it, but
Doesn't matter, does it?
yeah, and it gets back to what I said earlier. Muhammad Ali said that the greatest religion in the world is a religion of love, and
Mhm.
it's really a love book because
Yeah.
all the way back to Moses in the Old Testament, where it was about what's the most important thing, love thy God above any other love thy neighbor, and
Yep.
it comes down to love. And love doesn't see the mistakes in other people. And love is patient. It's kind. It's not arrogant. It's not rude. It's not jealous. It's not boastful.
Yep.
Love says, "How can I help you? What can I do for you?"
Right.
And it comes back, and
Comes
among
back. It comes back big time, doesn't
big
it?
time. Among faith, hope, and love, the greatest gift is love. And
Yeah.
that's what the world needs. And like what you were reflecting on during tough times, we got to put the political portion to the side, and we got to work together.
Yep.
And it's a matter of loving your neighbor and wanting
Yep.
to help them, and so let's hope we see that love movement now.
Yeah, and what I always preach to everybody too is everyone's trying to do this big momentous act of kindness or giving. I said, no, just little things, little acts of kindness all day long add up to a tsunami of
Right,
kindness.
right,
And everyone's trying to do some major things. That no, just open the door for someone, say hello to somebody,
right.
help somebody, with a little thing here and there. If we all collectively just even do that, it's going to make a big difference.
One of the things I've done is we have a thing called Papa Steak Night once a month, and I get my 7 grandchildren together.
There you go.
Actually, it's with the boys. There's 4 of the grandsons. It's a 30-minute program. I cook steak. It's over at our house. And 15 minutes is a Bible study, but I really put it on their level. And
Yeah.
it's about kindness and love. But then 15 minutes of it, Mark, is on hospitality.
Interesting.
About opening a door for a woman, saying thank you,
Yep.
yes, sir,
Yep.
no, ma'am, and being kind and not being rude. And when the teacher's talking, not talk when they're talking.
Sure.
And back,
Something Congress could probably learn, right?
well, I could have learned it myself in grade school.
Yeah.
I mean, I was probably kicked out of a few classes here and there, but as we get older, we learn this. But the kids really, I think they identify with it. They really relate
Yeah.
to it.
And it would make such a difference when you do meet somebody that exudes those type of values. It's just and behavior. It's just wow. That's really. I mean,
But
our office talks about it all the time when we meet somebody like this.
Right.
Wow, what a well-mannered person.
Yeah. Well, I tell the kids, there's 8 years old, 10 years old. When you shake hands, make it firm, look them straight in the eyes, and they don't teach these things in school.
No, they need to be teaching those things in school again. No, as amongst the many other things that we probably won't go into. But I know you and I are in the same mindset on all those things. So I know you're an early morning riser because I get your text at 3 a.m., which I'm up. So
That's a secret. That's a secret.
It doesn't bother me.
I thought this was going to be. Yeah, my wife always says, don't be sending emails that early in the morning. But I guess I can send them to Mark because you're up anyway.
I'm up anyway. So
Cool.
you're an early morning guy.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I love the early morning.
So you get up at what time? 3? 3:30? 2? Okay, so
that's a secret. Another secret.
So
You didn't hear that from
So what
me.
time do you go to bed?
I go to bed early. I'll try to go to bed at 8. Last night it was 8:45, but
Yep.
I get my 5, 6, try to get 6. I take in the office, if I yawn in the morning, I'll take a
Quick
10,
power nap.
12-minute power nap. I'll do it in the afternoon if I feel like
You're
it.
just
It
like me.
re-energizes me.
And I can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you just give me a little corner and a seat and boom.
But there's no interruptions early in the morning.
That's
and,
why I
and
like it.
I do my best thinking in the morning, and later at night I kind of start fading.
Yeah, well, and that's what I do. Later at night, I don't do my thinking. I do my socializing and just relaxing and enjoying my family. But between 3 and 8, in those 5 hours, I can get so much accomplished that if I tried to stretch that out between 8 and 3 in the afternoon, it would take me twice as long.
One of my friends, Lionel Richie, he says he's on the opposite schedule because he writes his music at 3 and 4 in the morning.
Okay.
And his best thinking is when I'm just getting up.
Interesting.
So everyone's got a different track.
Yeah. So do you have any favorite books? I know you love the Bible, which is the best book out there, period. But do you have any other favorite books or podcasts or anything that you love that inspire you?
I like Harvey Mackay's book, Swimming with the Sharks. I like John Maxwell.
Yep.
Love Rick Warren, The
Yep.
Purpose-Driven Life.
And we just did that function just over here at the Biltmore a couple weeks ago.
That book must be pretty good. It sold more books than any book other than the Bible. 50 million books.
That's what he said at the presentation. I couldn't believe that when I heard that.
And what he didn't say, Mark, was the fact that he gave 90% of the profits to Rwanda.
Wow.
To help those who are poor.
I could have listened to him all day long. It was such a great presentation. That whole luncheon was really, really well done.
Thank you.
That was so much fun. And I got to sit at a fun table. Nancy Hanley, who I know you two are really good friends
We
with.
had dinner last night with him.
Okay. And so she's such a special lady. I just love her. I got to design her house, too. So, again, not too bad for a little kid
That's
from Durango.
a pretty special house.
Pretty special house.
Yeah.
Well, I know Andrea Bocelli, I think, sang there one night.
I said, Nancy, what if we did this? What if I brought Andrea Bocelli over and your granddaughter Tessa could sing with Andrea, and she about lost it, and she still talks about it.
Oh yeah, she talks about it all the time.
And then Tessa tells people, "Well, I sang with Andrea Bocelli."
Yeah, how cool is that?
Well, I told Tessa, I said, Andrea Bocelli says he sang with Tessa. You know, so.
So what's up? What's up for you in the future? What's next for you?
I don't know. Just getting up in the morning, just report to work. You know.
Pretty much sometimes that's all that matters, isn't
Yeah,
it?
just
It's like, here I am, man. It's another day.
You know what? I can never get my work done. I always have a pile. I just have to prioritize, and
Yep.
I think I'm getting better at that. But I've often punished myself because I can't get it done. I can't get to the bottom of that pile, and then I've realized you ain't gonna get to the bottom of the
Right.
pile.
The pile keeps building.
But
and
you know,
I do the same thing with my to-do list. I prioritize. I
Yeah.
look at the list
Yeah.
and I go, okay, this is not as important as this. This I need to get done right now. And I kind of build my list as the day goes. You know, I'll just say, oh gosh, I got to remember to I put on my list.
Right.
And I just pile it on there.
Well, I think of your schedule, and then you're so generous how you invite couples like the Colangelos and us over for dinner, and your house always looks spectacular, and you're just always designing things and helping people. Somebody has a problem with a house, you come over, and I mean, you're the guy that needs to write a book. There ought to be a movie.
I am
you.
working on a book.
How about a movie? Somebody produce a movie.
Oh my gosh, I don't know about a movie.
Yeah, no, I will. Well, we want to see it at Harkins. You know?
Yeah,
Give
exactly.
you a couple years or something.
There you go. No, but I am working on a book, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's a book about all the houses that I've done over the years, and I'm putting a recipe with each of the houses.
That's good, yeah,
So
because
that'd
you're a
be fun.
great chef.
Yeah, so that should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to get you back over again.
You know, we had, for the homeless, we had Mark Tarbell and Vincent and Mark Lupino from Steak 44. And
This is a good story. You got to tell this story.
yeah, and oh my gosh, it was great. These four chefs and Chris Bianco.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Four of them came down, and Celebrity Fight Night, we bought 1,000 steaks.
Wow.
And they came down, and what they did, they cut up the steaks in small pieces. Why? Because a lot of the homeless don't have teeth.
Right.
And they loved it.
Yeah.
And the chefs loved it as much as anyone.
Yeah.
And so we made that an annual event to do that on Muhammad Ali's
That's
birthday
so awesome.
on January
I want to
7th.
be invited to that one. I want to cook with those guys.
You should cook with them.
Yeah. I mean, I know both of them pretty well. But it'd be fun just to be there that evening.
They
at that
could
type
learn
of event.
from you,
Well, I'd be
you know?
just a sous chef. I mean, I would just help.
I know, no. You would be right on the line. They'd love it.
Yeah,
we'll
that'd
make
be
sure we
fun.
do that.
And then there's you have a little basketball court out there behind St. Vincent de Paul's.
We Celebrity Fight Night.
Who put that on? Who put that together?
Celebrity Fight Night. We
Okay.
donated it. There's 6 baskets. We dedicated it to Meadowlark Lemon.
That's the story.
I'll
I was
tell you what
thinking
was
of.
really cool though. About 4 years ago, Andrea, I asked him for a favor. I said, "Would you come down to St. Vincent de Paul on the basketball court and sing Ave Maria to the homeless?"
Yeah.
Would you believe this? It's 7:30 a.m. and it was about 40 degrees. He's out there singing Ave Maria to homeless people.
Holy
After
mackerel.
he did a concert the night before, and most of these entertainers, they don't fall asleep after they get back to their room. I mean,
Right.
they're kind of wound up, and he probably didn't get to bed till 2 or 3. He's there at 7. I pick him up at 6:30 in the morning. He's down there singing Ave Maria. That shows his heart.
Yeah.
That's a good Italian.
That's
huh?
a good Italian.
There
And
you go.
Speaking of Italians, we were talking about this on the way in too. I mean, they're really struggling over there.
Oh.
I mean, I've been talking to my friends in Italy this morning, and it's pretty serious over there.
Well, we need to pray for a lot of countries. They're
Yeah.
certainly on the list.
Yeah, for sure. So, trying to think what else I wanted to ask you while I had you here, but I think we're doing pretty good. I think you are just one of my dearest friends. I mean, I don't get to spend a lot of time with you, but when I do, it's always very meaningful, and I just like that it's always so positive, and I can always feel God's presence when I'm around you. And
Thank you.
And I love that about you.
Well, you're very kind. Thank
Yeah.
you. I feel the same about you. I respect the fact that you're liked and respected, marked by so many people. You have such an excellent
Yeah,
reputation.
Thank you so much.
And I'd like to interview you, by the way, next
Yeah,
time.
well,
Let's
we'll
reverse
do
it.
that. So tell us about the lineup this fall then. Now, you're moving to Fight Night to October.
Correct. Well, David Foster, he'll return again, our 16-time Grammy winner. Reba McEntire has come 16 times in a row.
Yep. She does a great job, by
Love
the way.
her. Love
yeah,
Reba.
what great
Yeah,
energy.
it's just Christian Jenoweth, Dennis Quaid, Smokey Robinson, Brooks and Dunn, We're going to honor Jimmy Kimmel and Reggie Jackson.
Oh, cool. That's going to be
Yeah,
nice.
so we're looking forward to it. So we just had to put it back another 5-6 months, and let's hope things get back to normal, even better.
Yeah, even
with
better
conditions.
Yeah, maybe we do learn something. That's why I always try to take away from these things. And hopefully we learn something. Because I remember 9/11, we did learn something. We did learn a lot, and I think this is another one of the little God's reminders. Like, come on, you guys.
Absolutely.
You can all be better people than you're behaving right now.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Yep. So, well, thank you so much, my friend. God bless you.
I've enjoyed it.
Keep it up.
Thanks, Mark.
Keep it up. Keep it up. I'm always there for you.
Hey, I'm there for you, and you keep it up. And we're on the same team, right?
We're on the same team, my friend.
Love it. Thank you for this opportunity.
No problem. I want to say a big thank you to my good friends at Stockett Tile and Granite Company, where your project is our priority. The Stockett team, along with so many others, are coming really close to the finish line on our demonstration kitchen and our new expansion of our Candelaria design offices. I've had the pleasure of working with the Stockett team for nearly 40 years on some amazing projects, and trust me, they are the epitome of excellence when it comes to tile, marble, and granite work, bar none. Their skill and customer service is impeccable, and the bottom line is they are just good people. I have traveled with, dined with, and just had good times both personally and professionally with Dave Stockett and his lovely wife Becky, and they are the best. When it comes to your next kitchen, make sure Stockett Tile and Granite is part of your team. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed our podcast. We encourage you to write a review, screenshot it, and share it with your friends. Please instant message it to me and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We thank you for listening, and we look forward to sharing more insights to inspiring living next week.